Not telling council members, you're not in tonight.
All right, make sure your guys' microphones are on. And as soon as it says recording. Well, it says recording. It'll interrupt us in a minute. All right, so we will call this February 9th, 2023 Board of Zoning Appeals meeting to order at 7:04. With the roll. Told you it would be delayed. Ms. Packler.
Here.
Mr. Looney.
Here.
Mr. Mager.
Present.
All right. Ms. Williamson, who's the Planning Commission, for everyone that's here and here, notified me that she had been planning on moving out of the village. And she has now moved out of the village, which means she can no longer be on Planning Commission. And since she was a resident member of Planning Commission, that put her on BZA. And then Mr. Hankinson, I believe, had a change in schedule and so can no longer be available for the meetings. He was a resident member of BZA. So I'll be looking for persons to appoint, one to BZA, one to Planning Commission. But for the time being, we've got 3 members present, 2 from Planning Commission and 1 independent BZA member. So that gives us a quorum so we can have our meeting. Also in attendance tonight is Mr. Little, our interim village administrator, and myself. First item is approval of the minutes from September 8th. I know when we sent them out, I did not have the minutes. We found them. Let me get you a copy, Bobby, real quick. From our September 8th meeting. Thank you, sir. I'll give you a second to look over those. Let's see if we have any changes or if we can adopt them.
There are a couple of typos.
All right.
If you want to take note of those.
Yeah.
On page 2, the stuff that's quoted from the code,
Mhm.
a couple of paragraphs, the one that starts with to make it look more, I think that should be appealing rather than appeasing.
Okay.
Let's see, on the last line on that page, should be additional variance instead of just additional variance.
All right.
And on the second paragraph on page 3, Mayor stated that the options are to approve the variance, deny the variance, or approve the variance conditions. So take the D out of approved and make of or.
And Mayor stated R2. Oh, I see. I missed that one. Approve variance, deny the variance, or you had that. Okay. All right.
Sorry, I spent my previous life.
Nope, I appreciate it.
You're taking Ken's place.
Bobby, do you have enough time to glance? Well, take a minute. No pressure. How many people are here from the one out on East Maple Street 256? Raise your hand. How many are here for the one on West Maple Street? Okay. Yeah. If y'all were here for one or the other, I would take that one first, but it's pretty evenly split. So we'll just do them in order.
Is this the actual like document? Like the minutes, or is there something else?
Those are the minutes from the meeting.
So,
The variance packet would have been from way back in September. And I know we just got to, so it wouldn't be the first time we delayed approving minutes if you want to wait so you can review your notes. since I didn't get them out to you with the email. I'm okay with that.
I guess I would feel a little bit better about that.
Sure.
Yeah. So when you're reviewing, if you don't have anything in your notes that might be document wise you want just to help refresh your memory on it, let me know and we'll forward that on.
Okay.
And we'll hold the minutes then until the next meeting.
I do have that email with all the stuff from last meeting.
It was a while ago and it was a bigger variance. So we'll hold the minutes then so that they can be reviewed with documents.
At one point, when we were doing the minutes, it seemed like council in case wanted to have like each of these conditions outlined in 1240 that we how the conditions were being met and not met.
In the minutes?
Mm,
Because I know in the permit they get listed out.
Well, I just remember from the days when I was.
When you were doing them?
That,
Yeah.
you know, there was one of ones that came back to me that we were through and saying how each one of those parameters was met.
Okay.
I don't know, I'm just throwing that out there.
Well, if you think since we're holding these minutes, if it would help the committee as well and think it makes it more thorough, well, we can go back
I
and
think in the case of the ones that since I've been on BZA, it seems like that's been pretty well covered in the documentation. I'm not sure that's really the case in the documentation tonight. That doesn't seem to be as explicit about each one of those parameters is being satisfied.
okay.
I don't think we had any conditions on that variance.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I understand the reason.
But 1240 was the number of like parameters that you have to talk about when you.
These things are there.
Yeah.
Yes, the same things that are on the application, right?
Okay. Anything else while we're holding these? No? All right. If anything else pops up, let me know. So we'll hold those for the next meeting. And we almost had 3 for tonight. So if we don't end up with one in March, we'll probably end up with one in April, it sounds like. It was just, there was a timing thing and one thing for the property owners and us to check on. So hopefully it won't be 6 more months before we have a meeting. All right, so we will move on then, holding the minutes until the next meeting. Visitors, we do have visitors. Everyone's here for a variance, so no one's here just for general comment on BZA. All right. So we have no old business. So we will move on to new business. And we have 2 variance applications. The first one is 05-23, which is a variance at 625 East Market Street. And we'll first have Tim give us a quick overview of that variance and what we're being asked to consider this evening.
Yeah, this is a variance for a pole building to be constructed on the property. On the property, it is 2.7 acres, if I remember correctly. It's more than 20,000 square feet, and they're going to do a 40 by 50 or 2,000 square feet pole barn on the property. The drawing shows the setbacks are fine, but it's over the allotted 1,200 square feet that we say is good for a 20,000 square foot lot. So they're asking for a variance to go ahead and install that pole barn. They're going to build a principal structure also on that lot. So he has applied for the variance and applied for the permit.
And if you guys will remember, this is one we did a lot. When did we do the lot split on this? That was summer of last year. This was one of the lot splits we did in the summer of last year. So
So this was one with Mr. Keck and Mr. Woodson.
no,
Yes, we were at the same time.
Oh, yeah, same time, not their property.
Not the same house.
Different lots.
Different lot split,
Okay.
same hearing.
Okay.
So before I turn it over to them, just real quick, Tim's staff report, that's what it's about. Any issue from the village side of being
As
this?
far as that goes, I do not see long as the principal structure is in place. See, I'm gonna sell the setbacks over there, there's plenty of property, plenty of room to install it. building.
Yeah. And then as we'll typically do, we'll move over to the applicant if you want. What, just so we can record them. Your mic's on. All right.
I don't know what else you guys would need from me other than what Tim has spoken. I mean, it's 800 square foot difference in size. And again, it's on 2.6 acres.
Mhm.
So I'm not on a normal in-town lot.
Yeah.
So
And then just we'll have you up sometime. To be fair, both of these variances tonight, I think, are relatively straightforward and aren't very difficult to consider. So, but give everybody a chance. And if the committee has any immediate questions for them right now. I know it's been a while since we've done one. So the next step will be I'll ask anybody else that wants to speak in favor of it, that wants to say yes, yay or nay. I should say yay. Then I'll ask anybody that's opposed if they want to, tell us why. And then we might call you back up for questions if there are any. But no immediate questions from them. Anybody else want to speak in favor of this variance?
Speaking in favor of it, I came because I'm the general contractor of record on this project. And I was there when we wrote this into the zoning code. And we never imagined a 2.6 acre R3 lot. So
Yeah.
this is why this limit's on there. If it was on a typical R3 lot, I would be against, but
Yeah.
it's on a large lot.
Right.
So I'm here to speak in favor. Well, plus it's not like it's right in town.
Come on up so we can.
I'm just gonna say, plus it's not right in town, it's almost right out of town. So, and it's a large lot and you can't even see it. Really.
Yeah. Anybody opposed to this one? All right. Your turn for deliberation. Like I said, from my vantage point, I'm with them. This one's relatively straightforward. It's a large lot. It's not that much bigger than what is allowed.
One question I have, what's the use of it?
it's a general store equipment, stuff like that.
We don't have a basement in our house. We're building on slabs. So we don't really have some storage.
You're not like requesting the variance for commercial usage.
So this is the lot directly west of the old Frank's.
The original, correct.
Okay. Want to make sure, I was even trying to look it up online and having trouble for sure nailing down which lot that was. I know what Mrs. Williamson would say. She'd be complaining about drainage. Because that whole area.
Pole barn will have gutters, right? Drainage addressed.
The drainage doesn't start at my property, the drainage starts out further on over. If that was addressed, it wouldn't look so wet up there. My feelings on it.
So, I mean, are you building a house right now or is the house built? And I hate to sound stupid, but I'm involved if I really ever get over the other side of town.
That's what we've done too.
Okay.
It's all the prep work going on now, right? Yeah.
Are there any comments from neighbors, from letters that went out or anything?
Not that I'm aware of, nothing.
Not here. And in fact, you're not even an adjacent owner. Close enough. Yeah. So as far as I know, adjacent property owners have nothing one way or the other and aren't here, but other property owners in the area are.
I personally don't have any issue with it. I know as a baseline rule, it's often frowned upon to have an accessory structure larger than what the lot. But because of the lot size, I don't see where it's an issue.
I think isn't your door? Yeah, their house will be a little bigger.
The house is 76 for a long 36 feet.
Okay, well, I was getting 36 by 50 here on the drawing. Maybe that was,
Well, you're not putting in the garage, it's attached.
okay.
Yeah.
But even if they were still off kilter a little bit there because of the size of the lot, I don't really have an issue with it.
Yeah. It's the idea to get the pole barn built about the same time as the house.
Yes, we only got the crane truck in there one time.
So this meeting was timed pretty good for you.
It actually fell right into place very well.
Everything else has been a pain, but things are starting to come together, so.
Any other questions or comments from the committee on this one, or are you ready to vote?
So the only thing that's the variance is the size, right? It's not, I should probably know this, but like not the other driveway, like having two driveways is not something that needs a variance, right?
Not that I have found.
It's a good question because typically you only get one driveway. Typically you only get one. So here's what we can do to be safe is in your motion to since the accessory structure sits well behind off the road and behind the other structure, in the motion to approve the variance for the size of the building, if you include a access driveway to the building at the back of the property, it'll be covered for them. I don't typically you only have one driveway, but I off the top of my head, I don't think we have the limitation of only one.
As much as
Because we've had other people make additional driveways to get to RV storage behind their house and stuff like that.
Is it
Kind of need the accessory driveway, if not, the yard's so wet at times,
Yeah,
you'll never be able to get anything in and out.
which is why we made another resident inside the village put in a driveway because they were driving and it was tearing up the yard.
Is the second drive part of the permit for the house? Is it on the site plan for the permit of the house?
That I don't know.
There's a driveway, in the site plan, there should be.
There is on the
drawing.
on the drawing. He's asking about the house one though. Not for
Any
Glenn.
driveway to get in my garage, house. So
Yeah.
That was with the house.
Yeah, yeah. And like I said, I don't think we have the limitation of one driveway because we've required people to put them in. But if the committee wants to just be safe on that, like I said, if you just include the language in the motion to approve, and a driveway to that accessory structure as mapped out, it'll cover them. I don't think it's necessary, but it wouldn't be an addition. It would be a good additional safeguard just for future reference. That way it's in the minutes and on the variance, so that if 20 years down the road we say there's only one driveway and someone says, well, now you got two, he's got documentation that no, he's allowed to have it.
What material is the driveway or the driveways going to be made of?
Number 2, number 4, 3 or 4. felt. Yes. I think there's like that.
I'm sorry, what was the last thing you said there?
Blacktop grinding.
Okay. I know we've hashed this over a few times, haven't come to a hard decision on driveway service. I know it says parking services. But we've never really come to a hard conclusion as far as driveways go,
With regards to,
to material. Whether it be gravel
Mhm.
or hard surface. So we're still in gray area on that, correct?
yes, there's a, and it's going back to where Terry was saying, and his is blacktop. I have a gravel driveway, and I disagree with where people say gravel driveways are impermeable, just like a blacktop one. Because to me, it's ninth grade science class. You learn about permeable, and they put rocks in a container and pour water in it.
Yeah.
So
The gravel driveway is known as semi-impervious.
semi-impervious, yeah. But I mean, even if he was concreting it, or it's blacktop, with the size of this property, I don't foresee a problem.
Yeah, I mean, I've got gravel as well.
Oh, yeah.
on property, so.
So
So it's not that I'm against it, I just want to make sure that we're, following the letters here.
yeah, no, I think at this point, given some of the stuff in the code about driveways, I think as long as there's a driveway and we're not driving through the yard, we're going to be okay until we flesh that out a little more. That was one of the planning commission's talking points that we kept putting off.
Right, now, I know we never got, we made that decision.
Right. So, all right. Any other questions? If not, is there a motion to approve this variance and add on to it the driveway if it's needed?
I move that we approve the variance request for Carol for accessory structure that exceeds what's in the code by 100 feet. And also the driveway to reach it.
Second.
For discussion on the motion to approve with the addition of the driveway on there. Hearing none, I will do roll call. Ms. Fackler,
Yes.
Mr. Mooney,
Yes.
and Mr. Mauger.
Yes.
All right. 3-0, that application will be approved. So it'll be approved. It'll take a day or two to get the paperwork going, but you can let your contractor know that they can get the crane in there and at the same time and get it going. So, thank you. And that, thank y'all. You don't want to stay with theirs because their variance is very similar to yours. All right, so we will move on to application. It wasn't numbered, but I believe it'll be application 06-23, which is a variance at 1406 West Maple Street. And I kind of stole Tim's thunder there. If you'll tell us what this variance is about and the staff report, any village concerns or not on this one.
Okay, the variance is for an addition to an existing one-story block building. The addition is 40 feet by 36 feet, 1,440 square feet. Again, it goes into the 20,000 square foot lot, which the lot size is 1.75 acres. And the 1,200 square feet, we just obviously over that 1,200 on the addition.
And any concerns from the village? Any, I mean,
I do not see any concerns that I am aware of.
and it took me a minute to find it, because when I was looking at it and I'm looking at this and I'm like, oh, wait, and then I see the one, it's the one with the pond, and it's one of the larger lots in the village as well. So, with that applicant, Mr. Moore.
My wife and I own the property. Actually, what we want to do is take down the old garage. Replace it with this new one. That's
Okay.
what we
That's
want
not
to do.
an addition.
Okay,
Okay.
I'm sorry, I misread that.
The old garage is blocked. It'll probably cost me just as much to fix that building as it would to replace it. It's not for commercial use at all. Even though I do own a trapping business, that's not going to be stored on anything. It's going to be strictly for general purposes. My lawn, I have a couple big tractors and some trailers and stuff that I want to get off the decent bit of property over onto that back in there. So, but there is a typo here. If I can stand you guys correct on something, it says 30 by 40 on my paperwork here. Actually, it's 36 by 40.
Yeah, I was going by the drawing that you
Okay.
submitted was 36 by 40, and I assume, I thought it was the 40 was just the addition, but you're saying the 40 is all the way to the end of the old existing building.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah, that makes sense.
The old existing building is 20 by 36.
Okay.
All I really want to do is extend it back. I have a pond on my property and there'll be drainage into the pond. That's all I have. I've got something else for me.
No, I appreciate the clarification, and just for the record, for the committee record, so the variance is still the same, whether it was an addition onto the building or he's building a new building, the variance is still the same because the end result would be more than the 1,200 square feet.
City administration down here says that it's actually two separate lots. But my deed says I own 1.7 or 1.9 acres.
I took this from the auditor's website, and that's what it tells me there also.
It's one lot?
One lot.
Yeah, I had that question because here it was like one lot, but in this drawing, it's like
That's
two
correct,
lots.
right.
Oh, so, and that's the engineers or the survey drawing, correct?
Right.
So hold on, let me pull that up.
I purchased the property in 9/11/01. We bought the whole thesis, but it was sold to us as one.
Okay, so in the survey, I'm going to guess that the line there is where it used to be a split lot and they combined them. And it is so that it just maintains the prior boundaries in case they were ever to be split or something, but it is one lot.
I have no intention of splitting any of that property.
No, it's combined. It's nice property, big property.
Spoiled over there. That's a fence, so it kind of really makes it look like a separate lot too. It's all fenced in, the pond.
Yeah,
You don't have nothing else for me. That's all I have.
nothing at the moment. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
All right. Anybody else in favor that wishes to speak? Anybody opposed that wishes to speak?
Yeah, I'm not sure that I necessarily oppose it, but I guess I have some questions.
Okay.
As far as the drainage, your current building, does it drain into the pond?
No, it does not.
Okay. A concern that I have is we get a lot of water in our yard. We live directly behind where the pond's at.
What's your name?
I'm sorry, Joe Fuller.
Oh, I knew.
Yeah.
Been a while. It's been a while. I know you guys. All right. And you're okay. So I know right where you're at. Okay.
We are, I don't know if you have the county map.
If you like,
We're at the 240, 205, 900.
the 900 lot.
I can show you here.
Okay. You're the new build then?
Yes.
Okay.
We get a lot of water. We believe that, well, I've seen water run down from beside the pond onto our property. So if he's going to put more drainage into that pond, then I'm afraid that we're going to get that additional water into our property.
And my property is backed up right to his property. And I get all the water.
Well, I don't want
Wait,
to argue with anybody, but a lot of the problem is there's an alley there
It's all
and it's all
downhill.
downhill.
Yeah,
There's no drains up there in the street for any of us.
and in fact, just for, actually, Tim, you're probably better to answer this. Maple Street. No. Was it Maple right there that we just did the storm line on?
Not this Maple, it was on the west of us.
It was on the other side because it went up. Okay.
The only storm that is there is on Basel, and there is some on the corners of Maple there and Basel that I'm aware of.
Okay.
Because that runs basically down to that Hatter Rock Creek or wherever it is right there, and that little V where it comes together, the stream.
Okay. Heterodox.
Yeah, that's it.
As far as the size of the building, they don't have an issue. I mean,
No,
I understand your argument.
well, I just.
with the drainage, it's gonna cause more water and it's gonna be more water in the back of the yard, so you won't be able to mow it. That's the hardest part. It's wet all the time.
Yeah, because there's a
Right
hill
behind.
there and it all goes down towards
We-
the property.
When we bought that property, that pond was already on it, so.
Yeah.
there was nobody-
on that pond 60 years ago.
There was nobody behind us on that property. To be totally honest with you people, if I knew that lot was gonna be for sale when the old gentleman lived in it, I'd have tried to buy it. But I had no idea it was up for sale.
No, mowers, later owners had it.
Yeah, your property's directly behind the pond too.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm right beside that alley that they half shut off, and the other half still is an alley. Our easement is back there. We can't drive back there because it's so wet because of the pond. Water coming down, not just from the pond. It's coming down the hill,
So,
right into our yard.
I'm sorry, Mr. Moore, I guess it is.
Yes.
I mean, most ponds have either like emergency overflow and or a drainage. Is there anything on that?
Not that I know.
Okay.
It was like that when we bought it. Actually, when we first bought it, it was totally dry, and I got in there and pulled all the cattails out. And only water that came into it was from the house.
Okay.
If it's an issue with the water, I'm gonna put gutters on the building. But then we're gonna have it going down the alley the same way.
Right.
That alley's been shut off.
Right.
Okay, and some people have access, some don't. There's no drainage back there.
I do know the properties there directly to the east of it do lay wet quite a bit. And I wasn't sure if it was the pond actually leaking or was overflowing. I wasn't sure what the situation was.
No,
I
it's
can't answer
never.
that. I honestly don't know.
Yeah.
I've never seen a drain in it. So I don't know.
Right.
I'll be honest with you people.
It's never overflowed that I know
Okay.
No, it's never
of.
been.
Not even that close.
Actually, to be honest with you guys, I like, after I get the garage done, I like to do something with that pond, but I'm trying to take care of eye-appealing things first.
Right.
So even though they have, I just want to make sure, so the pond has sufficient space. It hasn't overflown to your knowledge.
It's never been up over half.
Okay.
If you,
No,
you
it's
guys
not
can
that
come
close.
over, I can bring you pictures back and I can show you where the grass line's at.
So the additional, if the drainage goes in,
It's still.
you still have a lot of space.
Never.
The issue, it sounds like, to a degree, it sounds like the issue is just the topography out there and the water and how it runs and a lack of storm sewer drops in that area because of that old area of the village.
Well, I think that pond does. I think it's, I don't know who built it.
I have no idea. I don't know if
Well,
Boyden built it or who built it.
No, Boyden never built it. I can tell you that right now.
I don't know. I'm just saying,
I'm Boyden's daughter-in-law, that's how I know.
well, I know Boyden's son come up to me one time and wasn't very pleasant about the issues down there. And that's the year we had a lot of rain and you can see it rolling down the alley. So
right.
if he would have been a little more professional about it, I'd maybe got a little more aggressive about maybe trying to get an easement to put something in there, but
But he also told you he's willing to buy, rent the equipment to help you guys to get it
Well,
taken
I
care
don't
of.
wanna, I'm not gonna argue about it.
Yeah. And I mean, and to be fair, from my perspective, from the village side, when we get a lot of rain, everywhere gets wet and I got water going everywhere.
Yeah.
You know,
Well, everything-
I have a grove of trees behind my house that has a river that runs through it when we get more than a half inch of rain. So,
Property in behind me that's that fast built back in there and Jason Roach built back in, that lays in water too.
Yeah.
There's a little creek that runs through there.
All right,
And it does go from our property, it all goes down. And I could see your point, I mean, it's, you know, it's not something to deal with.
Right, yeah, like, so I'm
Wet.
not sure where the overflows are on the pond or.
Well, I honestly say, I don't know if there's one in there or not. If the gutters,
How deep those overflows are, and
Yeah,
if the gutters are the issue, I can leave the gutters off.
we've actually
let-
worried about it getting too shallow when they kill all the fish.
let me ask a question to Tim. Since we work on storm stuff. In this case, hearing that, would it be better, and this is purely from a village side of it, would it be better for his structure to not have gutters? Or if he puts gutters on them instead of going to the pond, and it sounds like there's room in the pond, but instead of going there to help try to alleviate some of that, what happens if the gutters shove the water down High Street?
I can't make that happen. My elevation's not right.
Your elevation's not right? Okay.
If I put gutters on it and ship it down.
It's got to go to the pond.
Alley, it's gonna create them the same problem.
It's going, that'll actually exasperate the problem if you go down the alley. So with gutters, the best with gutters, the best place for it to go is to the pond,
Gutters on
if you put gutters.
Does the current building have gutters?
No.
And neither is the small little building in the back.
Mhm.
There's a little building we call the barn. I store stuff in, my hand tools and stuff, and it doesn't have gutters on it either.
The one at the north side of the property?
What happened was when it was bought, when we bought it, they were so bad, I took them off completely. So that's been 21 years without any gutters there.
This is where I wish the auditor site gave us a topography map so that we could see the change in elevation from one.
let's say, the map's good.
I don't think so. It's just satellite and terrain. So,
I don't know why they let that happen years ago. There's other ones done the same way.
Mhm.
so yeah, I don't think it does, but
Is there
Oh, wait.
a way to like get some sort of study or something on your pond to see if it is
Leaking.
integrity, like an integrity structure, like, or study, I mean, like, is it, can it accept water as like a retention type of thing?
Well, it's 15 feet deep on one end.
Well, yeah, it sounds like there might be concern though that it doesn't hold the water.
Well, I dyed it. We've had dye in it last year, purple dye or blue dye. And I haven't seen anything running down anywhere else, but I'm not saying it's not. They can also filter out. But we do dye it every year.
And we just put a water feature in it to try to enjoy it more.
These people have some other questions too, and they kind of got a good point. If that alley was functional again, we could solve a lot of problems. But it's not functional. Up on my end, it's blocked completely off.
Well, it's glad that they're in too, because of the people that just moved in.
when you say, and I'm trying to Sally.
The big one.
Is it this one?
It's actually the alley. It's right here.
Because we have gravel in there, but they say the truck.
So this alley right here.
So I know we can't get us nothing. There's a tree right here. We can't get it.
Yeah.
Wait,
Well, they're right.
there's a tree there now? Okay.
Looks good.
The alley ends at the
alley. Yeah.
No, we don't.
loops into here. So why
Yeah,
can't,
that's it. But we cannot get through from this point on. We can't get through here.
I guess this tree is covering my property lines. It's hard,
It
it's
is. Yeah.
hard to, I mean, there's a boat park, but I mean, that pond is right there and here it appears to be further off. So,
And I don't know. I'm gonna try to check to see.
I'm about to ask the question if the alley was functional, how does that help? How that helps drainage?
That would be impossible.
Let me ask, when you say if the alley was functionable, that would help, how does that help?
It drains down through it.
In the middle of
The
it.
water catch basin and running all the way down to the bottom. But up there right beside me, I don't want to throw anybody on the bus or nothing,
Oh, we're throwing people under the bus. We want to take care of, so go ahead.
but anyhow, it's blocked off and the gentleman uses part of the alley for his own yard.
There used to be a swimming pool in
Well,
that yard.
Yes, I know.
Yeah.
I mean, there's not, but do we don't put stormwater drops in other alleys, do we?
Very rare, unless it has to be tied in against the majors.
We don't typically put storm drops and water runoff in alleys.
No, no.
So,
Valley has a lot of water coming down through.
I do have to ask, somebody mentioned that this, if the alley were open, that would help a lot of things. I have to ask, what all would it help? If the alley were open.
well, they just answered the question. They said they wouldn't put drains in it, so that wouldn't solve the problem.
Okay, so this just talking about to put a drain on it. Okay, I thought maybe there was some other issue that somehow would help.
I mean, if I decided to put the gutters on, if you guys let me, and I shot it down over to the right of the building instead of the left, it's gonna go right down in the alley. So that's why
Right.
if we were gonna do it, we want to put it to the left, so at least it goes in the pond.
it goes into the pond.
Well, I mean, I'm going to the pond is a smart thing, okay? My concern is I mean, that pond, this has been my belief anyway, okay? I have not walked up there and trespassed on your property. But what my understandings are that pond is leaked for years and years. That's probably why it was dry when you bought it.
But I guess the question becomes, if he's dyed it and the dye isn't going anywhere and it's not showing up anywhere, where is it leaking to?
Yeah, I don't know.
Unless it's just draining down into an underground aquifer.
I don't know. I'm not familiar with the dye stuff, so I don't know how you test it to find out where it comes out at. I don't.
What I was told before they built the 3 houses in behind where my property is,
When you say behind, which direction?
the road,
On Basel Street.
back
Okay.
there, there's 3 new ones back there. Mr. Fast lived back here, and
So you're talking
Mason
about
Road.
north and east of it.
it'll be, would that be east of me, I guess?
Yeah.
It'd be
This way, these?
No,
the big
the
ones.
big house is back there. There's not even on there.
Okay.
What I understood before them houses were built, there was an aquifer there, and that's how it stayed full of water. And then when they built that house and built that pond over there, it shifted the water to the pond they put in. That's what I understood. And that's just going on hearsay. So,
I can't say what killed it. I don't have any knowledge on that.
But I guess that's, I mean, ponds can leak, but
I'm not opposed to trying to work on fixing the pond. I'm not opposed to that.
right. But I go back to, I'm kind of with you because we dye stuff as well. You put the dye in to figure out where it's leaking. And if you put dye and you would see it seeping through the ground somewhere or flushing out in a rain. And if you're not seeing it anywhere, I don't know where it would be leaking, except drying up into an aquifer underground.
Right.
That's almost what happened.
And the dye that I used probably 8 or 10 years ago was the same guy we buy sewer systems with, which is lime green.
Mhm.
So I didn't know.
So it'd be noticeable.
Oh, yeah. Pretty close.
It'd be noticeable. So,
So I guess if you don't have gutters now, that water's running onto the ground. That could be where maybe the water is coming onto our property.
I'm
so
not opposed to trying to work with these people.
Yeah.
If it's my problem, I'll take care of the pond.
Yeah. But the gutters might help the problem if that's what's causing it as well and putting it into the pond.
But again, it's an elevation issue for, like we all talk, everything lays in water. That field I have just on the other side of my house, I can't mow it sometimes with my 8-inch tractor because it's wet.
Yeah, the garden,
Right.
the garden,
We call it the garden side, but
garden plot,
it's 3/4 acre spot over there. And I can't even get in the mow with an 8-inch tractor.
it lays, you know.
Yeah. Well, and you asked about Google Maps and topography, and it's a very generic topography thing. But it looks like there's high stuff to the north and to the east of the property. And so it would make sense that it kind of pulls there. It goes down, but then everything, it looks like there's stuff coming in actually from heterodox in that area over.
I guess that's questions for the city, or the village. So if I decide to have some work done on that pond and put an overflow in, where am I allowed to run that overflow? It's either going to have to go down the alley or I'm going to have to buy an easement from somebody.
Well, and that would
Get
be,
it to that little creek there.
well, that would be a question that we'd have to do almost like a joint project with. Now, the beauty is because there is an alley there, the village has that. So we could run it. What I'm saying is we wouldn't necessarily have to buy an easement because the village has that. And if it's a joint thing, we could, yeah, we have that right away. We can put stuff in there. We don't typically in alleys because we focus on the main roads and trying to keep water out of them. It also happens to be where the collection lines go and stuff. So
Before they built that new home down there, which is a really nice home, it was really, what was there before was overgrown, and I got a lot of groundhogs and stuff that came over to the pond, and I've been trying to remove them from there. So
I could imagine.
that could be another issue, and when they're gone, I'll fill the holes in with, I'm going to
Yeah.
use a bentonite in it, so try to, if it is a leak in one of them holes there, to stop it.
Yeah.
That could definitely cause a problem there.
Yeah. groundhogs are too.
But I mean, you might have had the point that if there's no gutters now and you're getting water, gutters and gutters to direct it to the pond might help the problem.
I'm willing to work whatever I gotta do.
Yeah.
Yeah, we need this building.
Yeah.
Well, I'll give you my opinion, just straight out, okay? I think, personally, put your gutters to the pond would be the smart thing to do. I personally don't have an issue with the size of the building because of the lot size. But I really would like to make sure that pond is not leaking.
All right,
If you can address that, that would definitely make me feel better.
we'll address it.
And I think you said originally your plan was to put the gutters on into the pond. So that's not even a condition the committee would have to add. That's part of the plan. So. Any other questions, comments, discussion?
Like, part of this, I think what you were talking about earlier, the 1240.2, the various requirements is to see whether it would, if there was a problem that could solve. there would be adverse effects on the neighborhood or adjoining, whether adjoining properties would suffer substantial detriment. I feel like where it's at right now doesn't sound like that's fully planned out how that's gonna be solved. And I think that needs to be like part of the variance that's approved, is like a detail, like how is it gonna be determined?
Well, sorry, go ahead and finish and then I'll.
How is it gonna be proved that there's not gonna be substantial detriment to the adjoining properties?
And which one are you under
It
here?
sounds like there are ideas, right? Like run the gutters to the pond, sounds like a good idea. Might be questions on if the pond leaks or not. And if that's gonna solve the problem. Like
Well, and I guess, which number are you under here?
Number 3, under 12,
Essential character of the neighborhood would be substantially altered or adjoining. And I guess part of it is on one hand, there seems to be a problem, but one, we don't know what that problem is.
The problem currently exists, it may not be.
And the problem currently exists, so we don't know how making this building bigger will add to that. And while the pond is a factor in here and the water and stuff, the variance is for a building, not remediation of a potential problem with a pond. Now, they're not unrelated, but at the same time, I don't know that saying you have to fix a pond or we need a plan to fix a pond because we have water in this area is appropriate for determination of, is this building, is this building variance what we're considering? Because quite frankly, I could do that with just about any property in the village on a variance when it comes to stormwater and stuff. We can go over on Rome side by Pappy's, and the intersection there floods when you get more than a ½ inch of rain, and they call because the way it flows, it blocks up the storm gutter. My backyard gets a river. Luckily, everybody that lives out 256 in the Holder Road area already left because we had to hire an engineering firm to help us try to figure out what's going on out there. The village has a stormwater problem. We have old lines, we have bad topography. Not all roads have them. And so I get that there's a problem that we can work on, but while related, I don't also know that it's part of the variance. I think we get into shaky grounds if we say, well, we gotta find this problem with this pond and fix it in order to grant a variance.
What if I built the pond completely in and did away with it and the water's still there? That's kind of my argument now.
Yeah,
I'm not opposed to doing something.
right.
I definitely understand where you're at. I say, I don't want to make this a condition because that is up to the. But all I'm saying, I know that's been an issue for a while. And I don't have the expertise to say, yes, it is your pond.
And to be frank, from the village side, we've discussed ponds. But for the 5 we have in here, I don't know that we'll ever allow another one because they cause problems, other than maybe a little koi pond type thing.
The other thing I can do is I can have a rubber liner put in. But again, a bit of that expense. And the water still, it won't leak.
but the water's still.
The water's still an issue. I kind of agree with what he says.
There's a problem, but we don't know what that problem is.
Right.
And it could take, we've been working on Holder Road for 3 years, 5 years, 6 years to try to figure it out.
And it doesn't sound like what you have in mind for your building, particularly the gutters on it, that is going to make things worse. It doesn't sound like that.
I mean, because the new building's not that much bigger than the existing building.
It's not gonna overflow the pond.
No, I don't think that's possible.
And there's a pinch.
It's very deep.
Actually remediate some of the crop.
Hmm.
Tim's got notes.
Got some notes.
And for everyone in here, you know, from the village side, over the past couple of years, we've been trying to do better stormwater improvements. You know, sometimes things pop up, like the other side of Maple Street. And sometimes we can plan for things, and knowing about this can help us maybe plan to look to see what we can do sometime. Our plans for this year are pretty well drawn, but in future budget, what, you know, is there something we could do to look at that? To help? Do we need to put in more drops somewhere? Do we need to scope the lines and make sure they haven't collapsed and water that's going in isn't just getting blocked and backed up?
Well, on you guys' behalf, you know, that sewer line was lined, and probably after you guys lined it, that's when the water issue came.
You know,
I'm sure, I'm working the wastewater trade, I work for the city canal, and I'm sure that's when it started getting really wet, but you took the I&I on you.
we took our I&I out. We fixed our problem. That's where all that, I was gonna say, as soon as you said that water got lined, we know where all the water used to go. But no, that actually, I'd say helps me. It helps Tim figure out that, okay, you know, we didn't used to have a problem there. Now we do. We fixed one problem for us, our I&I, but it created another problem, at least in my book. As we look at future stormwater projects, that elevates that up a little bit more, because it's not a problem that's just been here for 50 years. It's a problem that, fixing one problem, we exasperated another. So I'm certain that stormwater lines in this area will be looked at for the next budget cycle, especially knowing that. Because like I said, fix that I&I, and what storm lines might have been able to handle it with all the I&I, and then as soon as we take out the I&I, we end up with insufficient storm lines. So, all right.
Well, I mean, what I said earlier, I still feel the same way. I don't think we can put a condition that you service the pond, okay? But I'm willing to approve the variance, but I would still like for you to do, you know, if there are groundhog holes, whatever, do whatever you can. And I would like you just to make sure that it's not leaking, okay? If you did the due diligence, I have a word on it, I will take that.
Yeah,
Yeah, we have a pond guy.
I use Steve
Helps
Finler.
us.
I belong to a big sportsman's club, and I use Steve Finler out of Baltic, Ohio, on ponds, and I'll get his crew to look at it.
Okay. Well, I say, I
If
don't
it takes a
think you
liner,
should
if it takes a liner to solve their issue, I'm willing to put a liner in.
get- And again, I'm no expert in this. There used to be I know that, you know, the idea was you load a pond with clay, compacted clay down there. But there used to be something that I thought you could buy in bags.
It's bedding on chips.
Okay, so you know more about it than I do. I don't know how effective that is, but again, if you're willing to address that, if it is an issue, I'm good with that.
Yeah. And it sounds like you've started and have been trying to do some stuff.
Yes, we have.
that's part of my business. I do nuisance trapping, so I'll call them out of that.
Any other discussion or questions? I mean, we'll have discussion after the motion.
Any other questions?
Don't have any other questions. I guess just one comment, I guess, like, I just feel like the plan of what to do with the water isn't quite there. Like, I don't have a problem with the larger building than what the code allows, especially on your lot that's big. I just, like, from being on this board and from a perspective of concern for the village and the adjacent properties, I just think it needs a little more detailed plan of how it's not going to be a detriment to the adjacent properties. So, I mean, one thing, like with the last variance, you know, stuff went out to the property owners, nobody around there came. So that's one thing, but it seems like in this situation, the variance for the building could potentially make it worse. We don't know. And I don't think I could approve it just based on the fact that we don't know that. And I don't think I could vote yes for it to go against the code for that reason.
What do you need to see?
I would just need a more detailed plan because there's different ideas, like maybe running the gutters to the pond, but we don't know if that'll work.
I guess that goes back to my earlier point of is we don't know what water problem it is. Is it the
Yeah.
pond? Is it insufficient village runoff because we don't have lines out there? Is it topography? I mean, so if you
I
don't,
think it's on the BZA to make that determination.
when I
think
guess what I'm
there
saying,
needs to be something in the application that's a plan of how this isn't gonna be a detriment to adjacent properties. Like, it's not on BZA to solve the problem. and
Right.
condition it out of it.
and yeah, and it's any more of a detriment. And I guess I see it as the plan to run the runoff through the gutters to the pond is that plan.
But that, I don't know, that's not in the
Because-
application. And
Well, then
No, but it was part of the statement here of the details of what will happen. And the committee itself can make it a condition. Gutters will run to the pond.
I guess that goes back to my comment though, that like, we don't know if that's sufficient because we don't know the integrity of that pond. And that's totally fine. That's just where I'm at with it. I mean, it sounds like the rest of the committee is probably good with it. So you probably don't need my vote anyway.
Nope,
So,
there's only 3. Takes 3 to pass.
yeah.
Yeah.
It takes 3.
Oh,
Yeah. Yeah. And so that's what I'm trying to figure out. What do you need? Because I also, I don't want to send them out because what I'm hearing you say is similar to what we've had to do out at Holder Road, but that involves getting an engineering firm. And I don't think someone should have to get an engineering firm to figure water runoff for a building that is essentially 13 feet longer. It's the same width and it's going from 27 feet wide to 40 feet wide. So it's only an additional 13 feet.
my question to you is, if I put back what's existing there, this wouldn't even be an issue. You put gutters on there and do whatever I wanted.
Or if he just built that right there
Yeah.
on the existing structure, we wouldn't even be sitting there.
Right.
If you built what was drawn on this map, I guess we wouldn't.
Yeah.
Essentially, it's 20 by 36.
Yeah.
720 square feet, it'd be fine. If he was just doing a addition to the 1-story block building that was there.
And that's what I'm trying to narrow down. What
I mean, that makes that building larger, right?
Makes the building larger. Say he was to just separate the two. You still got the same amount, I guess is what the only thing I'm saying. You still got the same amount of roof, you still got the same amount of gutter, not gutter, downspouts, however you look at it. If you just build a freestanding and put 6 inches between the two buildings.
Then you're at 720 plus 720. Is that what you're
It's 1,440 square feet is what he's proposing to do.
And the cumulative accessory structure for the zoning code
1,200.
is it's actually 1,000 technically, for the cumulative, which makes no sense. I think that needs changed in the zoning code.
Yeah, well, and there's, as Rick said when he was leaving, there's an argument here that on a standard R3 with, this is an issue, but on these size of lots, a building like this just doesn't, I mean, it doesn't get anywhere close to the coverage and everything that those size limitations try to help. You know, hear them in the prior ones, they're victims of having a larger lot than anticipated in the village.
Well, I mean, we did say, in all fairness, we said that we would, on Mary's wife, we said that we would, someone had to check the pond. We said that we would be willing to line the pond. I mean, you're saying there's no plan. Well, there's several things that we have in mind that we're gonna try and do to eliminate this. I mean, I wouldn't want my yard to be soggy all the time too, and I'm hoping that our ponds have cost that. And we're more than willing to do whatever's necessary to eliminate it.
So I
So
mean, when I
we
mean
did
liner,
say
I mean rubber
somebody
liner.
to check the pond. We're gonna do the gutters to the pond. Even if we have to, we'll line the pond. So, I mean, I don't know.
And that's assuming the pond is the problem.
Exactly. And even if we do all that, what if the water's still coming onto their land? So I don't know what more you would ask of us, so.
Well, I guess, I don't know, can I ask the neighbors, like,
Yeah.
what are your thoughts on this plan? Like, because that, I mean, that's my main concern as a zoning appeal, like, trying to look out for the neighbors and.
We appreciate that.
Yeah,
I don't want to put you in. a
Yeah, I
bad
don't
spot
have
here.
any, I think when I first stood up and spoke, I'm like, I'm not sure. I want to hear what's the story.
Well, first off, we never got information that this meeting is even going on. I got this letter through the grapevine. That's why
Are you an adjacent property owner?
That's one of the reasons why I'm sitting here.
Well,
Because
we
we did not get,
We didn't know which neighbors we were supposed to
Right.
send it to. We did send it to our neighbor directly. Then we sent our neighbor across the street. We didn't know that we were supposed to
thought-
send you guys letters. and we
I thought it was
didn't.
the town that sent it out.
No, we had to address that and we,
I mean,
we
this
were-
is all
we
new to
assumed-
us. We didn't know.
on our behalf, we
You
assumed
would've
that
got one.
what the building was going to be eye-appealing to the neighbors is only letters we had to send, and that's why we did it.
Yeah.
I was not trying to pull any shenanigans or nothing, not that way. If I knew they were supposed to have letters from the city, I would have had,
From us, yeah.
from us,
Through the city.
we would have had them plot maps numbers for you.
Okay, well, then, as me, as being one of the homeowners back there, he's willing to put gutters on the building, sending it down to the pond is better than what he has now, because right now he doesn't have gutters, and it's just dripping down and coming back. So at least if it has gutters on the building, it'll go into the pond until we find out what to do to it. It might not be the pond, but at least the gutters will eliminate it coming just straight down in our backyard.
Yeah.
Right.
So as a homeowner, I'm in favor to have that property built with the gutters on it going into the pond. I'm in favor of it.
Because that removes one of the variables.
And they're doing it does not bother me one bit. It's just that if we can eliminate a lot of that water coming down to us, that might be able to save the problem.
Thank you.
Let me ask this technicality that you threw everything out. If all of the contiguous property owners did not get a notice, is that?
Well,
avoid this?
it gets posted as well. And let me see, hold on.
Because I hate to think that
I'm
one.
not, I'd like to have it done by July 4th. We're having a party, but I'm not under a timeline.
Okay.
But let me find my map here.
But there's neighbors up there that had other issues that we didn't want to rustle feathers. I had a dog, attack me, and he's a neighbor in front of me, and we're trying to be good friends with them, so we sent you their letter, or sent them that, put them down on the plot map for them. I assumed that was only the ones was gonna see the building. That's
Yeah, I
why the
did.
other ones did not get sent out.
No, we did not know that you needed one. It's no problem. We would have done it. We just thought it was the people that were right next to us.
Nah, that's fair enough, honestly. Which property is yours?
313 Basel Street,
Right next to mine.
right beside us.
Okay. Just
The house-
one road or one house north.
South.
Oh, south.
No, so
And then the alley.
So that's him. So he's there. You're right on the alley.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's that one. That's that one. So we're only talking that.
It's even considered directly across the street.
Yeah.
any property directly contiguous.
And
Property that touches-
any touches in those properties there technically don't touch.
That's correct.
So you're here, they got one. I don't know if they got one, but that's not going to affect.
He's gonna put the course on, which is 64 on the line.
Again, I don't think
64.
anyone has a problem with the building being built. It's just the water issue, so we're not gonna fight the building being built. That's not,
I appreciate that.
That says 1328 Maple, that's one of these.
It is.
Sorry about the geese. We lost the big two, so we have to wait till we can get them in the process.
A minus 14 degree.
They were. So, in the spring,
that for life, don't they?
we're gonna try to.
That's gonna be one at
do here
this one,
as soon as,
600.
Where we can get some in.
We're really hoping
Actually, let me do this, hold on.
that.
Because we got parcel numbers. Hold on, Ken, let me pull up the Fairfield. Yeah,
Comes over on our property. Should-
because this property is 1409. Don't want map, I want search.
Something up on your property.
I didn't realize the neighbor.
So my question.
1409.
If we approve or this,
Todd, man,
could this be called back to technicality if all the contiguous property owners were not notified?
I mean, he works with me, doesn't mean I have to like. Trust me, there's a lot of people here, but I don't like a lot of people. I'm not a likable person.
I'm the reason.
Is that actually a 1409
Thank you.
Maple?
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Maple Street, there it is.
Liberty
Yeah.
Street?
That alley makes me-
So let me view on map. Okay, so here's what I got. So this is them.
Thing themselves.
They did not get a letter.
It's always been like that. I've never-
No, that's them. Oh, that's her.
Never been
So
like
that's that. Did, they didn't get a letter. So let's do this.
That's it.
Make a move to finish.
Okay.
Like I said, I like him to work with me, trust me.
Alan, what about over here? Did these guys get a letter? No.
RV back there.
That one and that one. So here's.
How can they do that?
And then they send out more letters.
As long as it's possible. Does that have to be on gravel?
Yeah.
It doesn't have to have tags.
I've had to keep up with the water. I know.
What
I
we think of that.
All
All right, so we'd love to have people come and visit our person. All right, so Ken has a point. I think it would be a minor technicality. I don't know that it would be too much of an issue because there's only a couple. Unfortunately, you're one of them. You're right there. But Bobby has a couple of questions, and then talking about the water, and then talking with Tim. So here's what I'm going to propose. Update your application to include gutters. Just say, the building will be built with gutters installed, runoff running to the pond, so that it's part of that application.
Okay.
Tim's going to go out and the other Tim will go out and try to look at that and see what's out there as well.
Cool.
We'll send new letters out to everybody again, and we'll put this on the March meeting so that we get all the letters out, make sure the application starts to address some of the plan for that, for the runoff on the building. We might, on the village side, have a little, I'm not gonna say we're gonna have a lot of information. We might have a little more than we have now about some of the runoff up there, and what may or may not be happening. And then we can put this on at the March meeting again. We got a full application addressing concerns. We'll have a little more information. Everything will go out, and then we can basically resume this hearing and discussion on it.
Can we table this?
Basically, yeah, we would table it. We would continue it until the March meeting.
He wouldn't have to refile and all that.
Well, no additional fee, just send in, the building will have gutters that drain to the pond. Yeah, revised so that it's part of the application, so that, that becomes, upon motion to approve it, part of what is approved.
I'll contact the pond guy is up tomorrow.
And you might even have pond information by then.
And
Then you guys all do that.
all the contiguous.
We'll make sure, yeah,
Contact.
we'll do that. We'll make sure all that gets done.
No.
Now that now that I know it's not two parcels, we'll make sure it gets done, because there's another, as weird as it sounds, there's some even further away that technically touch, but we'll send a letter to everybody that's in danger of touching. It's quite all right. It's not
It didn't really state. It just, we assumed the ones, Jason ones
I was thinking, I said, well,
if the building's gonna be there.
that adjacent the building. And we're always looking for ways to improve how we can make things easier and more clear. That might be something, because for those of us that do it all the time, it's, oh yeah, that's clear as day. But like you said, you don't do it all the time. And so we can look at that language on the application to clarify that for everybody else.
The application does say contiguous. So that is true there.
Yeah, but that becomes well, we can clarify it, make it, just because we know what we're looking for, because we do it all the time. So this is your first one, 21 years here and your first one, right? So our next meeting in March, it's February and March, the days are all the same. So it'll be March 9th. Yes. So go ahead and put that on. If that's sound like a good plan for everyone, how we can work to address this.
Definitely.
If they get added with the gutters, it goes into the pond. I would just go ahead and put them down. So I have no issues.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
That's what
We appreciate that.
Yeah.
Hopefully somebody on the pond.
Yeah.
Plus we're having a chat.
That'll work. And then assuming approval in March, that should give you hopefully enough time to.
Time frame's not, I can,
Well, for your July party.
we can work around that.
Well, thank you for your patience.
Yeah, no.
I wanna thank you guys for, especially want to thank you for looking out for it. I think you did a great job
Yeah,
of looking out for these people here.
yeah.
I'm not opposed to your building.
No, I'm not saying that.
I appreciate
I'm
that.
telling you, I think you did a great job by. By
Some
sticking up
people here
for me.
before didn't care about us.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's no hard feelings here. I think you did a great job.
I mean, if you just in your heart of hearts, you're like, I can't. Well, there you go.
Yeah.
You did the right thing.
Right.
So we will continue this hearing until March 9th, and resume then. We'll send out new letters to everyone. You guys will get new letters. If you don't get one, let me know. But
Missy, the one that sends them out? Missy, Missy.
Missy,
Yeah.
well, they get generated by either me or Tim, and then Missy takes care of the hard part.
Missy will make sure I get it.
So
What do I gotta do to submit another application? Or how do you want us to, pending this meeting tonight, how you want it worded?
I would literally, if, did he do a drawing or?
Yeah, that's it.
There's a, I mean, the only, we got that drawing that we all been looking at. Is this one here. Just that one? Yeah, just that one.
I
I mean, I
would-
got copies, but yes.
You know what? You could almost just email Tim Little
Okay.
and say, as part of our application for clarification, our building will have gutters. The gutters will drain all building runoff to the pond. Please add this to my variance application.
Okay.
And we'll add it to the application. It'll become part of it. And that'll be
Get that done.
the quickest and easiest way.
Okay.
Now, don't they also need to list all the property owners, or was that the villages?
That's where it's a little bit unclear on there, because we'll take care of that on this one to make sure. So that we make sure it gets out. We got part of them. We'll make sure it gets done
Okay.
It will go everywhere.
on this. Usually we go off the list and just check off the list that's provided. But as they brought up, what 21 year contiguous, I thought it was this. So we'll make the application a little clearer for future applicants. And then we've already got the list of all the property owners, so we'll just get those out.
Okay.
All right.
All right. Thank you all for coming. So we will table this. So, hey, we will be having a March 9th meeting. What? Yeah. So Bobby, look at your stuff for your minutes for your March 9th meeting. If we got to send you anything for the minutes from the September meeting.
I couldn't remember.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you, gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen. Take care.
Okay. So, okay, well, look at it, and so that if we got to do it, because we will be having a March 9th meeting now.
Yeah.
Good.
I mean, what's in the minutes? If it was an error, it wouldn't even matter, because the variance application is
What is approved, right?
was approved. Yeah, all right.
All right, so with that being tabled, our next regularly scheduled meeting will be March 9th. Is there any other business? If not, we'll entertain a motion to adjourn until March 9th.
You would like to bring up another issue.
No, Tony. No.
It concerns both of us.
With regards to,
An alley. Yeah. alley that
You know what we're talking about?
And a vehicle being parked.
Blocking the easement.
easements.
okay, tell you what, let's do that after the meeting with just us and Tim and me. All right.
I have a quick question.
Yeah.
For proposing a change to the zoning code, that's P and Z. We don't really mess with that here, right?
Correct, but BZA, because the 3 citizen members typically of planning commission make up the other BZA. When BZA says, hey, we would like planning commission to look at this, planning commission looks at it.
We can refer it to them.
Yes.
I feel like that piece of the code needs change where it says the cumulative max square footage is 1,000 feet, but you can have one building that's 1,200 square feet. It like just doesn't.
Yeah.
Right.
It's really wrong. It's
Yeah, which particular section?
1272, I think it is, right?
that sounds right. It's under accessory structure.
Yep. So 127203.
Maybe I don't know. I don't know or if that's something that needs to go.
Cumulative area of accessory structure shall not exceed 1,000 square feet or 10%, whichever is smaller. Oh, I see what you're saying and how that conflicts with
With the 1200.
the 1,200
Yeah.
when you get to the accessory structure on the,
Right.
okay. Make a note on that. That will add that to the agenda for planning commission. It's yeah, it's a discrepancy between the two. I see where, okay. I see what you're saying. Good catch. Actually, no, all the variance people went, but they're the ones that caught it by having large lots that wanted big buildings. But yeah, okay, so we'll put that on the planning commission agenda to look at. Which will have a meeting March 9th now as well.
Right.
Yeah,
No.
Well, yeah, I'll be back. Like I said, I'll be out of town first weekend. I'll be back. So.
okay. So we'll add that to the P and Z agenda. Anything else? If not, is there a motion to adjourn?
I would make a motion that we call this meeting adjourned.
I'll second. the motion.
Discussion? All right, Mr. Marger,
Yes.
Mr. Looney,
Yes.
Ms. Fackler.
Yes.
All right, 3-0, we will adjourn at 8:30. Good meeting, good discussion.
Well, I got gentlemen